Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Please stand and body your spirit as we sing our gathering hymn, number 364 in your gray hymnals. Come sing a song with me. What?
346.
346.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when home is hard to find. And I'll bring a soul of hope that grows in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a soul of hope like a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a soul of hope like a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a soul of hope like a rose in the winter time.
Welcome, everyone, to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek community and support. We don't worship in one specific way each week, and we don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief, but rather we are a covenant community committed to loving and supporting each other, advancing equality for everyone, and fighting for justice in the world. No 2 weeks are the same here, as we have a wide variety of speakers who come to offer us different perspectives and thoughts. Whoever you are, member, friend, guest, whether you're here in person or online, we welcome you. My name is Heather Kraft, and I am the worship coordinator for today's service. As a lay-led congregation, there are a lot of contributors, many of them behind the scenes, who make our services possible each week. So we give a big thank you to everyone who helps make this a sacred space, both inside and out, where we can gather to learn and grow in spirit, love, and community. Today, we will be hearing from a member of our congregation, Patty O'Connor, on trust, the foundation for deep love and joy. Before we create our time for worship, let's take a moment to share any important announcements. First, this is a good time to make sure that your cell phone is silenced or off. Most of the announcements are on the back of your order of service, but if there's any that we missed, please come up and share. I don't care.
Hi y'all, I'm Amy and I like trying new things, so we have a new thing we're trying today. I'm not sorry. Okay, so on your order of service, on the back we've always had, well, for the last year, 6 months maybe, we've had this little tear off to subscribe to the newsletter. Today, we're adding a place to share your joys and concerns for submission to the newsletter, if you care to do so. Obviously not required, but if you want to put a note in the newsletter about something that's going on in your life, you can rip off this bottom piece right here. And there's more of these forms in the back, along with pens and stuff. Tear it off and put it in the offering basket, which lives up here. It'll also be passed around during service, and we'll leave it on the altar for a little bit. After service, you can add them at that time. I think that's all I have. Oh, Creek Week. Where's you talk about it? Okay. Then yes, I guess that's all I have. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I have two announcements. One of them is for Justice, which is about Creek Week. Orange County is celebrating Creek Week from March 15th to 22nd. Creek Week celebrates the streams, lakes, and rivers that connect our communities. It's a week-long series of activities like litter cleanup challenge, community science biothon, invasive plant removal, green infrastructure tours, and more. And for UUCH, I would like to try to get us to participate in one of those events, which is on Saturday, March 15th from 10 a.m. until noon, which is Hillsborough Invasive Species Removal along the Riverwalk in Hillsborough. The meeting is at Gould Park, and it says, work with Hillsborough Tree Board to remove invasive species along the Riverwalk. Wear closed-toed shoes and clothes that can get messy. Bring your own pruning supplies, for example, loppers, hand pruners, or saw. And then there is an RSVP link, which would be in the e-news, but isn't. But you can email me, and I can send it to you, or you can also just Google Orange County Creek Week, and it's on their website as well. We will try to send out another e-news bulletin with more information about this, since it didn't make it into the regular e-news as well. So that's Creek Week, and it's happening on Saturday. Also happening on Saturday in the evening, we're having game night at our house. So if you're interested in playing board games, let me know if you want to be added to our game night list, and you're welcome to come and play with us.
Hi, I'm Kim, and just a note that GovCo is meeting this coming Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock here, or by Zoom if you're interested in joining, and just reach out to myself or Amy if you would like the link to join us, and anybody's always welcome to sit in on our governance council meeting.
And I just wanted to say, the Songbirds, our informal choir, is singing today. I say informal because we're kind of a drop-in group, and people come and go and participate as you have time. And we do have a nice core group, but we have always people coming in and just as you have time. And so if you're interested in being in our email list, I send out recordings ahead of time so you can practice on your own, and then you can show up and join us as you feel ready. So just see me after the service if you would like to be on our email list and join our group at whatever level you feel comfortable joining.
How many of you were here when Valerie Howard spoke? She was the African American woman who talked about money dividing us, along other things. Well, I was so impressed with her that I invited her to come back to Hillsborough, and she's going to be, March 15th is a very busy day, but none of it actually overlaps. So at 1 o'clock on March 15th, Valerie Howard is going to talk about big money, the problem with big money, sponsored by Common Cause, and that is at the public library. If you want more information about that, you can see me after the service. I'll hang out for a bit. And the other thing is very different. The CARE team uses an application called Lots of Helping Hands. This was in the newsletter, but I just want to bring it to your attention that Lots of Helping Hands is about the caring community here. And so even if you don't think that there's something you can contribute, but you want to know what's going on with people who might be in the hospital or who might be in rehab or something like that, and you might want to visit them or send them a card, That information, because it's very personal and needs to be in a, HIPAA. We're sending those announcements out through lots of helping hands. So if you want to subscribe to that, let me know, or look in the newsletter. There's the link, and then you'll just get a little email about what's going on in the caring community, because we do care. Thank you. Yeah. Last call. Okay, Jacob. All right, we will now create our sacred space by lighting our chalice, the UU symbol for the light of truth that each of us seeks, the light of hope that each of us brings, and the eternal light of love. And August Aponte was supposed to be the chalice lighter, but I haven't seen him come in. Cool, Mary, can you come light our chalice?
We light this
Title.
A Sturdy Flame by Reverend Julian Lepp. We light this chalice with hope, a sturdy flame we nurture in these difficult times. We light this chalice with a heart of compassion for a nation divided by politics and strife. We light this chalice knowing that it will take all of us to repair this world we live in. We may find rest, compassion, and hope that we need to nurture ourselves and each other. May this sturdy light remind us of the people we can be and the difference we can make in the world together.
Opening words, The Blessings of Trust by Reverend Scott Taylor. We gather today to receive the blessings of trust. May the relationships in this room remind us we do not have to depend on ourselves, only on ourselves. May the quiet we share help us hear and renew our faith in that still small voice inside. May the music sung inspire us to hold tight to the restorative rhythms of the world. May the words offered remind us that we too have a voice, one that must be trusted and shared. With our hearts open, let us begin.
Please stand and body your spirit to join us in singing our opening hymn, number 108 in your gray hymnal, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
Creation.
community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the special happenings that have occurred this week among our members and friends. Some choose to share aloud, while others choose to remain silent. Here, we make room for both. After sharing, each person is invited to drop a stone into the vase on the altar, symbolizing our communal connection and the ongoing collection of our experiences. By taking time to share and listen, we strengthen the bonds between us. For those of you who would like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin to center yourself and collect your thoughts so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. For those of you who prefer to silently acknowledge the joys and sorrows remaining in your hearts, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone into the vase in silence while Aviva plays There Is a Love. After she plays it through, you're all invited to join us in singing. The words are printed in your order of service. We hold all of these things, both spoken and unspoken, within the heart of this community by remaining silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. Let us close this time with Amen and blessed be. Amen and blessed be. Now our RE teacher for the day, Aurora, is going to come up and tell us what's happening in the religious exploration classes.
Hi, you can tell it's not out today. We had a teacher shortage, so we're skipping a week. But it'll start again next week. And then today, for our regular RE, we are continuing with Faithful Journeys, and we are focusing on the UU principle of caring for the earth. We're going to play a game related to that. We're going to hear stories from really cool UU kids and who made a big difference for helping birds. And then we're going to decorate usable bags.
Ooh. So we're going to sing the children to class with the children's blessing, which is on the back cover of your gray hymnal and on your order of service. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. As mentioned, our speaker today is Patty O'Connor. Patty was born in Washington, D.C., where she lived for 4 years before her family moved to the area of Arlington, Virginia. That's where she grew up and spent most of her life. On January 1st, 2010, she moved with her partner, Cece, to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. After 10 months, they found and bought a little cabin in the woods of Mebane. They lived simply and happily with many dogs until Cece died of cancer in 2018. Not long afterwards, Amy Tattersall, Patty's good friend and neighbor, and one of UUCH's founding members, invited her to UUCH, believing that she needed a loving community. She became a member in 2020, just as the pandemic was gripping the country. Patty is a nurse and worked for many years in long-term care settings, often in staff education. She taught nursing to community college students, worked in home infusion therapy, and currently works part-time providing home health care for a young CP patient. She and her current partner, Angel, who hails from Louisville, Kentucky, live in that same little cabin in the woods, still with many dogs.
Hold on, gotta get ready here. I know, hydrate. To staple or not to staple the papers. I mean, everything when you have to talk in front of people becomes a big issue all of a sudden. Anyway, the topic is trust, and the title is Trust, the Foundation for Deep Love and Joy. Trust is something that we seek and rely on in both our personal and professional relationships. We earn it, we give it, and we know it involves some level of risk. I, and I'm sure many others, believe trust is necessary to experience real love and joy in personal relationships. And it's essential for both the cohesion and vital cooperation of communities, such as workplaces, places of worship, our neighborhoods, our government. Although we probably have our own ideas about what trust is and isn't, I'll give you a dictionary definition. As a noun, trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. As a verb, trust is to believe in the reliability, truth, or strength of someone or something. Trust is a foundation for all healthy relationships, communities, and societies. It allows people to be open and vulnerable without having to defensively protect themselves all the time. And if you're a member of a marginalized group, you might know how tiring that can be. Trust is built over time through consistent honesty, open communication, and keeping promises. Trust can happen quickly with some people. Did you ever meet someone that you just knew instinctively they were good and honorable and you could trust them? Sometimes you have a gut feeling, and if your gut feelings are accurate, you might know those things quickly, whether you can trust them or not trust them. You might get people's vibes, in other words. That's a great skill if you have it, but we all don't. Okay. More often, relationships move more slowly at the speed of trust. And that trust is generally built over time in small increments. It's influenced by both good and bad experiences. And building it can take days, weeks, months, and even years. Trust can be damaged and even lost altogether. But it can also be repaired with some work to make that happen. And in the best scenarios, it can be even stronger than it was originally. Researchers and therapists who study trust and trust issues use many of the same words to describe the essence of trust. Who can give me one word they associate with trust?
Safety.
Safety.
Loyalty.
Loyalty.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Integrity.
Integrity. You're hitting the list.
Humility.
Humility. I'll read you what they have. Which one?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Absolutely. Let me read you the list, and you've had half of them. Some of the words researchers use are honesty, sincerity, reliability, competence, empathy, non-judgmental, benevolence, accountability, integrity, safety, confidence, generosity, transparency, strength, loyalty, and faith. Charles Feltman, who's a clinical psychologist and author of The Thin Book of Trust, defines trust in this way, and it's kind of an amazing definition when you think about it. He says, trust is choosing to risk something you value vulnerable actions. Something is made vulnerable to another person's actions. I'll give you an example. My coming out to my family in midlife after spending years in utter was a big trust moment for me. What I valued and was worried about was jeopardizing my close family relationships. I came out to my Baptist brother thinking he was the biggest hurdle. He was pretty big, but not as big as I had in my mind. I think it was a bigger trust issue for him because I think he's still concerned and was still concerned about whether I would make my way back to Jesus and be saved. He still prays for me, I'm sure of it. And I still continue to think that that's a waste of his time. But it doesn't hurt me either, so I accept the prayers wherever they come. Feltman describes distrust in this way. What is important to me is not safe with this person in this situation or any situation. Another example, way back when I was in a relationship with a man I believed I loved, I shared intimate details of my previous life as we do. Specifically that I had a child when I was 18 that I had given up for adoption. At the time I told him this, he hugged me and told me I would have been a great mom. Sometime later, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, during a horrible argument, he called me a gutless wonder for having given my son away. That relinquishment was, and still is, probably one of the most difficult things I've done in my life. I mean, geez, being 17 in 1971 and telling your moderately strict Catholic parents that you were pregnant was not gutless. I'm telling you, that was tough. That betrayal destroyed all the trust I had in that person and in that relationship. And all I can say now is thank goodness. What I didn't know then, that I do know now, is that you can't really trust someone who doesn't love and trust themselves. Maya Angelou once said, "I don't trust people who don't love themselves but say I love you." She followed up with an African proverb that goes, "Be wary of the naked man offering you a shirt." Not every betrayal holds the same significance, but every betrayal can and does erode some of the confidence and trust we may have in another person. So what kinds of things help us trust others? Some things that may demonstrate trustworthiness, for example, might be as simple as asking someone if they need our help with something that day. Maybe someone shows up at your sister's funeral and they didn't know your sister, but they know you. Maybe someone makes an attempt to speak with your autistic nephew at a gathering. Or possibly someone asks you for help, making themselves vulnerable with the admission of not knowing how to use lots of helping hands. Dr. John Gottman is a world-renowned psychologist and professor emeritus at the University of Washington, and he calls these small episodes sliding door moments. Some of you might be familiar with the movie Sliding Door. Anybody seen that? Okay, it was in the 90s, and Gwyneth Paltrow stars as a young woman who loses her job, and early on in the movie she rushes out to catch a train, and this is where the movie splits into two parts. In one part she makes the train and gets on board, and in the other part she misses the train. And both scenarios have two very different outcomes. And so he calls these sliding door moments or little moments that happen all the time in our lives, and we can choose to connect, and or we can choose to ignore the moment or not connect. And he gives an example that's really pretty touching. He was saying that he loved murder mysteries, and he was reading a great book, and he had like 10 or 12 pages to go, and he thought he knew who the killer was, but he wasn't sure. And he was really anxious to just get into bed and finish the book and know, and then go to sleep and just be happy. And so he wanted to get up and get his pajamas on, brush his teeth, and get in bed. But on the way, he passed his wife, who was sitting there brushing her hair, and she looked really sad. And his mind said, just don't pay attention, just go walk on by and go to bed and finish the book. But he stopped in that moment, and he took the brush out of her hand and started brushing her hair, and he says, "Wow, you look really sad tonight, what can I do?" So he chose to make this connection rather than just ignore it and build trust. And it's little moments like that that are really important in our lives. I think we can probably all Think of moments that have been real important with friends, family, etc., sometimes even strangers. Not making eye contact is a way we can ignore those moments. It's a sliding door and we choose to take the other door. Sometimes you might see somebody coming up to you, you know they want to talk to you, they've made the eye contact, and you pretend you don't see it, and you move in a different direction. Maybe you just don't want to get involved at that time, you know, but you're not extending yourself for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it is a sliding door moment. Sometimes looking at the caller ID on your phone and saying, I'm not picking that up, I don't have time. Maybe even knowing the person needs to connect with you. We all make choices about the sliding door moments we choose to. How about making eye contact with someone who's panhandling on the street? That's a hard one. It's a sliding door moment, okay? Especially hard if you don't have anything to offer except a nod or maybe a smile. Okay? But I'll tell you from experience, not as a panhandler, but as a person who tries to make eye contact with people on the street like that sometimes people just need to be seen. Sometimes people curse you out, and that's okay. That doesn't impact your day that much. But sometimes people just need to be seen, and you've taken a moment to see them, even if you can't offer them more. It could be even something as simple as responding to someone's joy or sorrow here in the congregation. You know, you have a choice. You can not choose to, or you can go up and say, wow, I'm real sorry for your sadness today, even if you don't know what that sadness is. Or you can say, congratulations on your new job. Wow, that's really great that your kids did this. It's all about little moments of making trust and connections with people. Brene Brown, who's a fairly well-known author, researcher, professor, she does these little podcasts and shows. She did a talk at UCLA for Oprah's Super Soul Sessions on the anatomy of trust. And she uses the acronym BRAVING, B-R-A-V-I-N-G, to talk about this anatomy. B is for boundaries. We know we need them. I can trust you and vice versa if we're clear about each other's boundaries. Boundaries help build trust by creating safety and respect in our interactions. But we have to communicate those boundaries. We can't assume that we know what someone else's boundaries are, or assume that they know what ours are. The R is for reliability. I can count on you to do X, Y, and Z. Part of being reliable involves not overextending yourself by trying to do everything to everyone, but then falling short somehow. Either falling short with tasks you've committed to, or falling short with your own self-care. A is for accountability. Own your mistakes, apologize, make amends. The V is for vault. And we know that a vault holds things in confidence, and that's how we should be. Don't share what isn't ours to share with someone else. Maybe someone tells you they're pregnant, they're seeing someone, or they've been sober for a year. Now that might all be good news, and you might want to share it, but before you go spreading that around, say, is that okay to share or not? Remember too that someone who shares another's information with you may not be a trustworthy person either. We need to not share information that isn't ours. Integrity. We should encourage each other to practice integrity, choose courage over comfort. It reminds me of that saying, what's popular is not always right, and what's right is not always popular. Another demonstration of integrity is when you choose what's right over what's fun, fast, and easy. And finally, practice, not just profess your values. N is for non-judgment, the practice of accepting and observing yours and others' experiences without evaluating them. This can be hard to do because we attach feelings to just about everything we see, do, and hear. It means refraining from judging others, remaining neutral. We have to remember it's a big world out here, and there's lots of differences and ways of being. Sometimes we just have to allow them to be. Remember, they don't have to be in our home, okay? Generosity. Assume the best intentions of others' words, actions, and behaviors. None of us is perfect. We're human, and sometimes we do stupid and thoughtless without malicious intent. The acronym of braving, boundaries, reliability, accountability, vault, integrity, non-judgment, and generosity, helps us not only to understand the anatomy of trust, but to be able to identify parts of it that might be broken. Rather than trust you, things that might not be working. For example, you might say, you're my friend, and I trust you with keeping all my confidences, but you've been pretty unreliable about getting us to work on time, and it's affecting our performance appraisals. Here's my struggle. I want to be able to move forward in my position, and you said you do too. Is there something I can do to help with this problem? Just spit it out there honestly, kindly, and then work on it together. Another example might be, I told you last month that the first anniversary of my mom's death was February 15th, and that I'd probably have a hard time with it. I thought maybe you would have called to check in and see how I'm doing, but you didn't. I love you and I know you care about me, but I just need you to know how I was feeling. Sometimes that's hard to say, but it does get it out there, and the honesty is really so appreciated most times. Sometimes we might simply need to lower our expectations in some areas, okay, to maintain an otherwise good, loving, and trusting relationship. People don't have to be tops in all arenas to be considered trustworthy. We can trust people in some contexts, but not in others. It's not all or nothing. We don't have to check all the boxes. Braving works with self-trust examination as well. I know you moved just a little bit away from this mic, and I know I'm going in and out, sorry. Okay, but I trust you're getting most of the message. Okay. Sometimes we need to bolster ourselves and to make sure that we are filling our own jars up and able to be trusting and loving of ourselves, and it involves self-care in many ways. Okay, so we can use braving with ourselves. On breaking and repairing trust. Sometimes when the trust is fractured in a big way, we may need to just walk away from it. Okay? It just might be too big and too painful to fix, or we might not have the energy it would take to fix it. But if you choose to maintain the relationship, you have to understand that both parties are hurt, and you both have to take part in the reparation. Once again, it may have to happen in small increments, and the trust may need to be observed and verified. For example, a partner's gambling away all the money without divulging it. But somehow it's discovered when a bill isn't paid or the rent is late. To regain trust, the person who broke the trust may have to be willing to be subject to some verification. You might say, I want to believe you stopped gambling, but I really need to see the bank statement. Better yet, the offending person can say, I'm sorry I hurt you. Let me show you my bank statement so you know I'm doing better. Either way, some verification may be needed to rebuild trust. Or perhaps if someone was caught stealing from you, you might have to witness them being trustworthy in the same or similar circumstances before you can offer experiential trust. Sometimes we offer it too soon before it's really earned, okay? So we have to be careful. Finally, we need to remember that our groups, social circles, including our congregation, is a web made up of strands of relationships that impact us all. We really are all interconnected. A breach of trust in one relationship can affect the whole community. People will have alliances, perhaps take sides, and the community can be thrown into chaos and dysfunction. Having strong bonds of trust can see us individuals or groups through both good times and bad, and building is a truly worthwhile endeavor. And now I'd like to end with a poem about trust. It's called Trust the People, Lessons from the Emergent Strategy Immersion, New Orleans, I don't know. It sounds like a way out route, but here we go. Trust the people who move towards you and already feel like home. Trust the people to let you rest. Trust the people to do everything better than you could have imagined. Trust the people and they become trustworthy. Trust that the people are doing their work to trust themselves. Trust that each breach of trust can deepen trust or clarify boundaries. Trust the people who revel in pleasure after hard work. Trust the people who let children teach, remind us how to emote, be still and laugh. Trust the people who see and hold your heart. Trust the people who listen to the wails. Trust the people and you will become trustworthy. Trust the people and show them your love. Trust the people.
Thank you. Each week, we take up a monetary offering to support our social justice work in the community. This support comes in the form of donations. This month, our community partner is Orange County Justice United. You may donate by putting cash or a check in the basket as it's passed. Please make checks out to UUCH and put plate in the subject line. You can also donate by going online to our website, uuchnc.org, or scanning the QR code in your bulletin.
Keep your heart wide open. Through the waves won't push you around. You gotta keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. You gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
I'm gonna keep
wide open.
wide open.
Though the waves
Though the waves
wanna push you around,
though the waves wanna push me around.
you gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
I'm gonna keep
wide
I'm gonna keep my
open
heart wide open.
till your faith
Till my faith
brings you back
brings me back
to solid ground.
till my faith brings me back to solid
You
ground.
gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
I'm gonna keep
wide open.
I'm gonna keep my heart wide
Though the
open.
waves
Though the waves
wanna push
you
around,
though the waves wanna push me
you
around.
gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
I'm gonna keep
wide open.
I'm gonna keep my heart wide
till your
open.
faith
Till my faith
brings you back
brings me back.
to solid ground.
Till my faith brings me back to solid
You
ground.
gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
I'm gonna keep
wide open.
I'm gonna keep my heart wide open.
Though the waves wanna push you around,
though the waves wanna push me around.
you gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
I'm gonna keep
wide open.
I'm gonna keep my heart wide open.
Faith
Till my faith
brings you back
brings me back.
to solid ground.
Till my faith brings me back to solid
You
ground.
gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
Keep my heart
wide open.
Keep my heart wide open. Keep my heart
Till the
open.
waves
Keep my heart
wanna
open.
push
Keep my heart
you
open.
around.
Keep my heart open. Keep my heart
You gotta keep
I'm gonna keep
your heart
Keep my heart
wide
Keep my
open.
heart wide open.
Faith
Till my faith
brings you back
brings me back
to solid ground.
Till my faith brings me back to solid ground.
Please join me in the prayer of collective gratitude found in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Please stand and body your spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 1020 in the teal hymnal. Her closing words are "Trust Must Be Rekindled" by Reverend Scott Taylor. We gather today to hear the call of trust. Though our hearts have been bruised by broken promises and dreams deferred, may we listen again for that longing to repair, to be repaired, that hunger to start anew. Like this flame, trust is something that needs to be rekindled again and again. May today spark the fire of a new match. Please join me as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.
Blessed be.
Thank you.